Our original plan for this episode was to share some of our takeaways on our journey to minimalism. You'll hear our disclaimer that we are not pretending to have the corner on this market, nor do we want to reinvent this wheel, but rather our hope is that you feel encouraged to either A, keep going on your own journey, or B, take the pressure off of starting your journey. We had a lot of fun recording this episode, hence the giggles. However, during the editing process, we realized that somewhere along the lines of talking about minimalism, we morphed over into talking about organizing. And the two are not one and the same, as you can see by some of the influences we've listed in our show notes. So grab some tea and get ready to snort it out your nose. And that reminds me, make sure you hang out to the very end and listen to our awesome outtakes that didn't make the show.
Okay, in 3, 2, 1. This is Brandon.
And this is Tiffany.
And you're listening to the Tea of Life podcast.
We hope that you enjoy listening today as we dive into this week's episode.
But first, let's talk about TV.
This is April,
And this is Tiffany.
and you're listening to the Tea of Life podcast.
We hope that you enjoy listening today as we dive into this week's episode.
Hey friends, I'm really looking forward to today's topics.
Have we done this before?
I know.
Oh my gosh, like the first one we did was easier than this one. And this
I
one,
know
this is
it.
number what?
All right, here we go. First of all, because it makes me feel like breathing. And I like breathing. And second, it's just Tiffany and I today sharing our experiences and passion for minimalism in our everyday life. And I like talking with Tiffany.
And I like talking to you too.
Thanks. Now, don't get me wrong. We know we don't have the corner on minimalism. We'll go ahead and state our disclaimer right there. We are not looking to recreate the wheel here. There are many great books and podcasts regarding this very topic. We can thank Ryan and Joshua with The Minimalists, Joshua Becker, Courtney Carver, The More of Less, etc. Maybe you're familiar with these groups already. Maybe not. Maybe you have others that you've learned from and you want to share with us. We'd love to hear them as well. But
Okay, well, hold on a second. Let's back up.
sure.
So,
Beep. Beep. Sorry, I was watching Fixer Upper today and I'm
Okay.
channeling Chip for some reason.
oh boy. Okay. So you keep saying this one word, minimalism.
Yes.
Now, we might need to clarify that. Like, what is minimalism?
Okay. Well, when I talk minimalism, I'm not talking about the noun for a trend in sculpture and painting that arose in the 1950s or an avant-garde movement in music characterized by the repetition of very short phrases. I'm not talking about that minimalism.
So, no, not in art, not in anything.
No.
Okay.
Although I'm sure like the minimalists, they could probably define minimalism as an art, as in the state of being. Minimalism as a verb, like getting rid of stuff or just only using stuff
Living
that has
simply being
value.
the art itself.
Exactly. Controlling
Okay.
your own environment. Exactly. Yes. Okay, so picture the magic act with the guy and the plates are spinning in the air on the poles and he has to work hard at keeping them spinning, which brings a lot of anxiety and unnecessary stress to myself. But that's what I'm talking about. Like minimalism, you've got all these things that are happening at one time. But for this very podcast, my minimalism definition has to do with getting rid of stuff. What about you? How would you define minimalism?
Okay, but let me ask you about a listener who has basically, they've just checked out now.
Come back! Come back!
They're no longer listening because they have no desire to
Right.
be a minimalist because there is a certain stereotype that goes with the word minimalism. Okay.
Good, yeah.
So we need to reel those people back in and let them understand what we're talking about, why we're talking about it, what it means to us, what it could mean to them, basically, and that they don't need to go anywhere. They need to stay, listen, even if they don't want our information. I'm sure that someone could use our information that they have, or they could at least take, one thing from what we're about to say and apply it to their life. I would like to just kind of go back to the beginning and say, what does minimalism mean to you? And why do you desire that kind of lifestyle. So what does it mean to you?
Right. Minimalism to me means having control of your own environment. You know where stuff is at all times. You can breathe in your own house because everything has a place and there's a place for everything. You're not tripping over stuff. There's not chaos with, all around you. So I'm thinking of like what makes me want to have minimalism in the area of stuff is that I feel anxiety when I have, maybe when we just kind of use the dining room table as a catch-all, or we use the piano in our case. There was stuff on top of the piano that had nothing to do with music, or in the corner where the kid's desk is. It was just close. It was embarrassing. Like I would never have anybody over because it just was so much stuff. Not like hoard level. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about there was stuff not in their place. So I was tired of looking at it, tired of feeling stressed and anxious over it. Mm-hmm. So that made me want to change what I see around my environment that way, if that makes sense.
That's good. So I think for me, I know you didn't ask me, but
I was going to
tell you anyway.
Hey, Tiffany, what does minimalism mean to you?
For me, minimalism means basically what you were saying, being able to breathe, but also saying no so that I can say yes. So basically saying no to things that I don't need to spend money on, so that I can say yes to the things that I do need and do need to spend money on. But maybe not even like material items, but also saying no to calendar events, to invites, to different things like that, so that I can say yes to maybe spending more time with my kids. Maybe being there for them, maybe, even having time to go to the park or go and ride our bike or go for a hike or, anything like that. So I want to be able to set boundaries with my minimalism so that I can actually, and say no to things so that I can actually say yes to other things. It also means to me that we're not bringing as many items in the house, which means we're not spending as much money. It means that we have more money in the bank. It means that, I'm able to be a stay-at-home mom. It means that my husband is able to do the job that he loves and work where he loves to work, but maybe even, take a little bit of less of an income just so he can do what he loves to do and be where he loves to be. So to me, that is what minimalism is to me. And if you were to walk into my home, you would not automatically think, oh my goodness, these people are minimalist. In fact, you might walk in and some people might think, wow, they're anything but, like they're Maximus, because we have stuff everywhere, but everything that we have serves a purpose. If it gets in my way, I have learned to let go and get it out.
Right.
And that's through a process that I'm sure we'll talk about later.
So I was thinking minimalism means decluttering physically and mentally, like you were saying. So physically cleaning out the closets, the garages, the attics, the pantry, or just rooms in general. And mental minimalism, taking all of the stuff that's floating around my brain that is distracting me from what I need to do today. So those are kind of the concepts that helped formulate these notes that is now in the form of a podcast. I think another tip that came to me when I was thinking about is to know your why. Why do you even do this? Why do you want to have more money? Why do you want to not buy so much so you can have more money? You know what I'm saying? Like, know your why. And that seems to be a common thread in life. Know your why, and it'll motivate you in your business and organization or anything you do.
So I know that you came up with a few tips for us.
I did.
For our listeners on some quick ways that they can actually...
Okay, so we've just kind of established what minimalism is to us. And how we're going forward is there are some 5 easy tips to help you start this summer off right. Okay, so the first tip, you're going to want to write this down, or you're just going to want to make a note in your head. The step number 1 is take a dump. Take a dump. A brain dump. Some people call it vision casting or idea.
I'll be right back.
So, yes, It's a funny little way to say it, but it might help you remember. Your people, like I said, people call it brain dump or vision casting or idea casting. It's where you designate a page in your journal or your planner, and you just write down maybe goals or things
you just
like.
said planner, like people like. Do you actually have a planner?
Oh, I love my planners. Yeah. So I have a
So
Panda
you still
planner and a
actually
Passion
carry
planner.
a planner
Yeah.
around. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? Okay. So sorry. I would like to go on record that planners, physical form planners, pen and paper planners are making a comeback. So the digital people out there, you might use your iPhone or whatever other device there is. I don't know. What are there? It seems like
Androids.
yeah, those things.
The real phones. I mean, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you use a Mac. I'm just saying. No, but yes. So wherever you choose to write all these things that are floating down in your head, or you want to get out your notes on your phone or whatever equivalent, your Evernote on your computer or whatever WordPerfect, whatever you may want to use, designate a spot where you can write ideas. Okay, so you've got them down, and you can refer back to this list when you go along your day and you come across another idea that you would love to do but might not be able to tackle it at this moment, so you put it there. And so you kind of look at this, you've got this beautiful picture, this beautiful bouquet of flowers, this beautiful picture of flowers that you want to do, and you look at it and you go, oh, you know what? I really want to clean up the garage today. So you pick that. And you might have wrote garage, attic, those things that I listed earlier, but today is like, Oh, but anyhow, tip 1, get out some sort of a place where you can just write your thoughts down. And I know people use Passion planners and Panda planners. I've seen you people on YouTube. There's a page in the back. That's tip number 1.
Okay. Tip number 1, take a dump.
Take a dump.
Tip number 2 is.
Are you going to sing it? Oh, start it.
Start it. Like, gotta be starting something.
I think there's a really great song about that.
Okay.
So you pick a place to start. So this is kind of also where your planner comes in, and you look at your calendar or your phone. You look at your calendar. Or wait a minute,
or your phone.
Remember those Palm Pilots? Do people still use them?
We still have one. We do. I'm sorry. We're talking about minimalism. I just said that we still have an old Palm Pilot.
So obviously, writing down.
What at the beginning did you say? You said something in the beginning that said something about we know that we don't have the corner on minimalism. So I'm just gonna go back to that
disclaimer.
Yes, go back to that beginning disclaimer.
My goodness.
So.
We just talked about starting something, getting out your planner or your phone, calendar, whatever. What is a good first step? Do you get rid of stuff you hate, or do you start with the plan? Like, I'm just kind of, as I was processing this, what I thought, maybe you just take inventory. What area of your life do you need to address first?
Okay, so you know what I did? This is what I did.
Yes, tell me.
I used to know a lady who, she was a fashion consultant, and she said, whenever you get dressed in the morning,
Okay.
turn around away from the mirror, turn back around quickly, and the first thing that catches your eye, remove it.
Ooh,
Take it off.
okay.
Remove it.
Wait. Of your body?
Of your body.
Oh, okay. He's like strip poker.
No.
Wait.
No.
Is she drinking?
No. Okay, so
you get dressed.
right.
You turn around away from a mirror. When you turn around, you jump and say, surprise!
So you just turn around,
Okay.
look at the mirror, and the first thing that you
Okay.
see, you remove it.
Right.
Because it's very distracting. You want somebody to see your whole self, not just that one item.
Oh,
So when I
missed this.
started
This is
my minimalism quest, basically what I would do is I would walk into the room, and the first thing that caught my eye,
Okay.
like that seemed out of place.
Okay,
obviously,
okay.
if you walk into a room and the TV catches your eye, like that's not
Right.
where I'm going here. But I'm just saying, like the one thing that is very distracting in the room that you just cannot stop focusing on. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe it needs to go away. So for me, I started with the things that were very distracting in my home that I could not focus on.
I like that.
And whether it was just a vase or a piece of furniture or anything that I just didn't like. So I would start one by one of those things that I didn't like. And it was very easy to get rid of those things
Right.
because I didn't like them. Okay, they were distracting to me. They were visual noise.
I like that.
Okay. So then once I did that, it started looking a lot more clear and I really liked how it was looking.
Okay, there's more of a flow.
Right.
Okay.
So I really liked it. So that was encouraging. So I continued to get rid and get rid and get rid. And every time I would get rid of something, I would uncover something else.
Okay.
And I would think, oh, well, then I can get rid of that too, or I don't need that either. And then I was realizing the less I had to clean, the less I had to organize, the less I
like
had
it.
to move, the less I had to, worry about all these things. And the less I had to buy to fill up the spaces because I was trying to get, open up the space.
Right.
And
I've never heard of that. So
so getting rid of the stuff that you hate and starting with a plan.
right, got a
would be-
plan. Hey, and I think so right now is where I can interject and you can interject as well. Before you interject, I have this book and it's called Organize Now and I found this at the bookstore. It's excuse me, Organize Now, Jennifer Ford Berry, a week by week guide to simplify your space and your life.
Is it another planner?
Well, sort of.
It's
For
another
for
planner.
nerdy people like
Is
me.
this okay? So I just want to clarify: how many planners do you have right now?
I guess by definition, maybe it's not a.
No, this is a planner.
This is
I'm
an
looking
organized-
at it.
Well, this is a planner where I write stuff in. I do have to check the boxes off on this one. Okay,
How many planners do you have?
I have, including this one that we're looking at right now.
Yes.
This is Organized Now 3. Oh, wait a minute. Listen.
So you
the
have
reason-
three.
Wait.
Books. You have 3 planning books that you actually carry around with you.
I don't carry around them all the time. I carry this notebook right here. It's my Panda planner right now because I got this first before I got my Passion planner, which is a totally different story. So I'm waiting for this is one more month in it. For some reason, Panda only gives 6 months. I don't know why.
Smart on them because they don't have
Exactly.
to buy another one.
Exactly. Way to go, Panda people. So now, once that's done, then I can return to my regularly scheduled Passion planner because I love. Oh my gosh!
Yes, I know. I saw
Focus.
the
Sorry.
unveiling party when you got it in the mail. You had a
love
video.
planners. So
You literally had a video online of you opening your Panda
That
planner.
was Conrad. I didn't realize he was going to put said video. So, okay, so for people like me who love routine and structure and crave it, and they have no idea how to get from point A to point B when it comes to organizing, this book dumbs it down for you. And I mean that in a nice way, Jennifer Ford Berry.
Did you say dumbs it down or dumps it down?
Dumbs it down.
Okay,
That's a
just-
good one.
just to make sure.
But yeah, with all respect to this author, I think she's genius. So there's 52 weeks of the year, and it goes, each week has like a title, Organize Yourself. I love that. Another week, you might talk about your yard or your house. Anyhow, it just goes into easy steps. And I like, who out there loves checking off boxes for to-do lists? I love it.
I
That might-
do love checking off
Okay.
boxes.
There you,
Yeah,
I'm telling
sometimes I will actually write something down and then check it off, even if I've already done
Right.
it, just so I can
Just so you can check it
feel
off.
and know that I have actually completed something.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree with you. Yeah. So she has week by week, and there's steps, and then there's even stay organized. Once a week, you do this. Once a month, every 3 to 6 months, once a year. It's beautiful. It's really a great book. So I will put that in the show notes because that helps me with my plan. Because now I know you're like, why are you talking about minimalism and you're getting more books? That's not it. This is a different category of book, different category of planner. So you definitely plan your time, use a book, or
which is a great example to show that minimalism is different for everyone.
right.
It means something different to you than it means to me because I would not carry around those planners.
Right.
I would have all my stuff
Right.
in one place.
Right. And whatever helps you start small and build momentum. So like you just said, this is helping me start small and build momentum.
If that's what works for you, then that's great.
Okay, you got your plan. You've what do we say? You take the dump, you write down the things that you need to do. Start it, got to be starting something. You start, you got your plan. Tip number 3. See if you can go with me here.
Okay.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Wait, what?
You
What's
are
happening?
looking at me very blank, minimalistic. Look at
I have the minimalistic
you have
look
a
on my face
minimalistic
right now.
look on your face.
What did you just sing?
There's a song called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. This is where you think about your strategy and how to proceed with said task.
Okay.
So you're
Okay.
you can't see on podcast listener world, but in podcast recording world, I'm pointing at her because she has some great.
I'm sorry. I'm still trying to figure out the killer tomatoes.
Like I said, I don't know where it came. I just saw it in the movie, and the little girl was singing this song, and she's so cute.
Okay.
I'm going to Google that part
Okay.
later.
Awesome. So it's not something that you just made up just now. Okay.
Oh, no, but I'll take the royalties. Just kidding. Go.
So attack, come up with a plan. One of the books that I've read actually on minimalism, and it's not really minimalism, it's kind of minimalism combined with simplifying your life kind of thing, is by Marie Kondo, and the book is called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Marie Kondo is actually known as KonMari, I think, here in the States, and it's called the KonMari method. And in her book, she talks about when deciding to discard, you need to remember that the end game is not to throw out or to donate as much as possible, but it's to make sure that you have the things that you hold on to, the things that make you happy.
I like that.
And this is where it kind of gets a little weird for me and her method. But she goes and she says that you need to actually touch each item and look at it, pick it up, feel it, and ask, does this spark joy?
Okay. Ask yourself for the item.
You ask yourself,
You
does
touch
this
the item. Ask yourself. Okay.
spark joy? And if it does, then you keep it. And if it does not, then you discard it. But you don't only discard it. She says, and she says that you need to actually thank the item for its service to you and send it on with a blessing to serve someone else, which is kind of weird, I think. But I think this past weekend, as you know, we sold a car, which happened to be like one of my favorite cars ever.
Right.
And I think at that point, I kind of got what she was saying, because literally, like in the driveway, as the guy is buying our car, I said, excuse me, I need to say goodbye to this car. And I literally walked over, touched the car, bent down, I kissed the car.
Wow.
And I was like, thank you for your service, rubbing the hood of the car, because I just loved this car. But selling it was the right thing to do. So,
Right.
so anyway, I think that it was all weird and until we actually had to sell this car, and I was like, yeah, okay, so I'm going to actually.
But you made a good
So
point,
it was
though.
like closure. Like
Right,
I
there
actually
it
had
is.
closure
That's the point, yeah.
with this car. Now, would I do that with my sweater that I wore last
What
winter?
about the-
Probably not. Then she talks about the next thing.
You're not going to thank your sweater for the service.
Right.
What?
Not.
Thank you for keeping me warm. That sweater feels shafted.
Right. So it's not like, you know, when it goes to the next person, it's going to be like, I didn't feel appreciated for the last person. I am not going to keep this next person warm.
Yeah. Folded its little arms, sweater arms, and like, yeah. That's
So then she says to actually sort and purge by category rather than room,
okay.
which basically means like taking all of the books in your home and
Okay.
placing
Okay.
them all in a pile. So you would go to like
Even if they're on the bookshelf.
bookshelf.
Okay, got it.
Yes, every book in your home, the ones beside your bed, the ones in the schoolroom for
Okay.
us. Maybe the ones, you know, if you have a bookshelf in a living room or a study or wherever, like the kids' rooms, if there's books, take all the books in the house, put them in a pile, and you go through them one by one. Now, this would be a little overwhelming for me because I think that I am a quick, decisive person when it comes to doing this. I don't like to sit and look at each one
yeah.
and hold each one and touch and say, thank you for your service. I appreciate
You don't have any touchy-feely
the
with
wisdom that you gave me when I read you, and then move on. Like
I
that-
can't
I don't
remember
have
a
time
thing.
for that.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
That's very like time consuming for me, and I I like to do things quickly, move on to the next thing, be done with it. I don't like to linger. And so to me, that's lingering. But if this is what it takes to get you emotionally there, to be able to
Right.
emotionally let go of some of these items or
Yeah, I
to
get it.
start, then that's totally fine. You
Build
can
that
do that.
momentum.
But she says if you get everything into the room, then you actually see how big of a pile of books that you have, or maybe even if you have duplicates or
Okay.
whatever, then you can get rid of those and hand them out, and then take all the books and move them to one area of the house. Don't have them scattered. When you the books that you keep, she wants you to keep them all in the
Okay.
same area of the house and don't scatter them
library.
out
The
into different
library.
areas. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So we'll keep all of our
okay.
wine in the cellar, and we'll keep
Right.
all of our books in the library.
Yeah,
And
exactly. The cars in the garage and the horses in the stable.
so that's basically the KonMari method.
And did you find it easy to start that, or was it a daunting task? Like now, or did you
I didn't do the
book,
KonMari.
okay.
I just read the book.
But I like the takeaways so that we can share them.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I sort of did, and I can share that in my story with. Okay. So, step 4, I wrote just follow the yellow brick road. It's just follow through with the plan. Follow your plan. Follow the yellow brick road, and go.
Yes, I'm
just
thinking.
see it
but
through the
I-
end.
You're
Wow.
probably thinking The Wizard of Oz,
Yeah,
right?
I
I'm
was-
thinking The Wiz with Michael Jackson. and
Oh,
Diana
it's also
Ross.
from. Oh, you know what?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking
Channeling.
of when you do that. All right.
Yeah, and there, again, just keep going. Set a timer. You've heard that before. Set a timer, 15 minutes, and do whatever you can in 15 minutes. And then you know what? That's still following through with your plan for the day, or 30 minutes.
Right.
Or like I heard this. Can't remember who said this once, but they're talking about just doing like set your timer for X amount of time, and then when you're done, do something that you actually like. Like I don't know, read a book for 5 minutes or something that lets you know, okay, you know what, that was really hard. Recognizing the fact that what you just did, sticking to your plan of going through stuff in your house and thanking it, that was really hard. So here's my story. So the beginning of May, Kale's room looked like an explosion of Legos, army men, clothes, stuffed animals, trash. It was bad. It was so bad I couldn't wrap my head around time to help him organize it or plan it because Legos, just like Legos. I'm sure every mom just was like, "Oh my gosh, Legos." So I would just close the door. And I'd say, okay, when it became summer or when school's over, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to map it out. I'm going to plan my day. I'm going to set my strategy. Now, for those of you who know me, you'll be shocked when I say I didn't actually schedule a specific date to clean out his room. It happened more like this. I was coming home
Wait.
from church.
So you have a planner. You have 3 planners, and you did not schedule that date on any of your planners.
That is correct.
Okay, just wanted
That
to
is the
clarify.
takeaway of that. That is. So it happened more like this. I was coming home from church and I went to Big Lots and I grabbed some containers and went home. Now, however, okay, pause. An earlier book that I read somewhere was talking about like step number 1 of organizing is you don't go run out and buy a bunch of organizing
Well-
things. But wait, I already had this in my brain. I knew what I wanted and I knew where I was going. So I knew.
Right. So you need to make sure, like, organizing is not the same as minimizing.
Oh,
Because
yes.
you can organize clutter.
Okay.
You can organize massive amounts of stuff.
Right.
And a lot of times when we do need to organize, it's because we have so much stuff.
Right.
Right?
That is true. So maybe my story is totally not even relevant anymore. But
No,
but
I
it's
think
organizing. But in the fact of minimalism, I was trying to make my life easier.
there are. I mean, we do need to organize
Right.
as minimalists. We need to organize. What I'm saying is like,
Ooh, yeah.
organizing does not equal minimalism.
True.
We need to remember
Right.
that. But I mean, we have Legos. My kids have Legos, so we
Right.
need to organize those Legos. Totally fine. I just wanted to
Right.
put in a little
But that's-
disclaimer
that's
there
good.
for our listeners, not for you.
Right. So your stories are better at minimal. I'm just saying, for me, for minimalizing my stress level,
Well, there
So,
you go.
and then I throw that-
There's minimizing something,
Like-
right?
So, okay, what we did, like I said, I just bought a few of these organizing cases and I really liked them. And I probably spent $20. Okay. It was probably the best $20 I've spent. Now I probably need to get more, whatever. Here it is. I stopped. I said, I'm going to do it right now. Got my little few stack and carry cases. And I began to map out this strategy to tackle this mess. Okay, we surveyed the floor. So he and I are doing this together. We surveyed the floor, and I asked him, what do you see? And he's, of course, like, I don't know. You know, and I'm like, really, what do you see? And he's like, Legos. So we made this mental list of categories. There were Legos. There were clothes. There was Minecraft toys. There was army men. There was games, stuffed animals, and trash. So actually, we just kind of went whatever I just said. Clothes, 1, Legos, Minecraft, army men, games, stuffed animals, trash. There was like, what was that, 7? 7 things. So the main goal was Lego organization. But before we could get to that stage, we had to start with stuff that wasn't exciting. And he was already starting to build things. Like, I'm like, no, okay, let's remember, we are here for, this is what we've got. These are our 7 areas. We really need to start clearing trash and clothes. Clothes went out in the hall. We could take them down later. And trash went, obviously, in a trash bag. When we got through that level, we then moved on to games and stuffed animals. And we put those, I had a bin for whatever Ryland stuff that happened to be in that room. Whatever was Ryland's, we put that in a different bin so she could put away in her room. We moved from games and stuffed animals to, now we've got our stack and carry cases. We put army men in one, Minecraft in another. Okay, so now we're getting down to just Legos. And this, oh my gosh, marketing, Lego people are genius. It's like, how many times can we get this kid to buy the same Lego set? You know,
right.
They just, whatever, that's a different start. I'm just saying. So when we finally moved on to the Legos, I set out the empty plastic bins, and we started with thinking, okay, we want to we have a smaller bin, smaller compartment, so they went the minifigs. Now, we've already researched YouTube videos on this. We researched together. We had some ideas, and we even went to Home Depot and said, okay, well, maybe I don't want to invest in this right now. And we left it alone. This is months ago. So what I'm trying to say is when you get a plan, you work it, you do it. Because otherwise it'll escape you, and pretty soon it's just coming back to haunt you later. So about 30 to 45 minutes later, we set a timer. We're just going to do this for 30 to 45 minutes because you cannot organize Legos in a nice fashion in less than 30 to 45 minutes. You can dump everything in. You can have chaos Legos in 4 different compartments and have a clean floor. That's something different. I wasn't going for that aspect. I was trying to minimize. I was going for, well, that was one. That was one goal. But so what happened was we set our time because I knew I wanted to keep this kid involved. I wanted to keep Kale involved in this whole process because eventually this is going to be him taking ownership and him reorganizing and him keeping control of his environment, this room. So we had a great start. We had some bins together, and we put all the so there's still scattered Legos on the floor because we were trying to do we color code them? Do we separate them by design? Anyway, we'd already done research on this. What I'm trying to say is put the scattered Legos into the open bins they happened to be colored bins, and they represented the uncategorized Legos. So we had our categorized Legos that we were working on. And then for the rest of the floor that still looked like a bomb went off, we scooped up all those and put in our designated uncategorized Legos. By the time we were done, at least we had a start on the categories. We had clothes taken to the laundry, trash picked up, Minecraft put away, and we had, the floor was clean. So we had we put it underneath the Lego table. So even though those still had some scattered Legos, not categorized, they were still in the bin that represented a needs categorization. Like I love that stuff. Like when he places little Legos, this is what I do to spend time with him. I organize his Legos. We are next to him. He's building, and I'm like talking and asking him questions, and I'm just organizing because I want to be with him. Like I want him to help do this, but I would like to be with him. So I'm like, I don't know, that makes sense. But so I had a blast, and even though we did not complete the task to its fullest, we had a start. And we had a plan for the next time. And I felt supercharged. And I felt like he had a clean room. Now, is that floor clean today? No. But the part is each day we're taking on our Legos and putting them in the categories. He takes them out. Now he's got to learn to put them back. So I'm not finished with this process. But at least in my head, I feel like I've made some sort of But you have stories about where you actually got rid of things to have less stuff in your house.
Yeah, I have. I mean, we started off with getting rid of just the things that were kind of being just cluttered, like meaningless kind of things.
Side note, wait. So I remember Tiffany calling me or texting me at 11 o'clock because you had that wild hair to do your closet. And I came over at 11 o'clock. I remember.
11 o'clock at night?
At night. And you were organizing your closet and taking out stuff that you didn't wear.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so that was it. So anyhow.
Yeah,
But yes,
that totally sounds like
that was
me.
years ago. Mhm.
That's funny. So once I started getting rid of more stuff, and getting rid of all the mindless things that didn't make,
Right.
that was not
make you
sentimental, it didn't make me happy. I started getting closer and closer to the things that became sentimental. Oh, so and so gave me this, or even if I didn't like it or if it didn't go with my decor, I still felt obligated to keep it. So I would kind of keep it and hang on to it, and then it got to the point to where I felt like I was emotionally ready to say, you know what? Just because I get rid of this item doesn't mean I'm getting rid of this person.
Okay.
This person is still in my life, and they are more important to me than this item that they gave me. And this item is not giving me any purpose.
Right.
It is just cluttering up my home to where I almost feel stuffed or even maybe angry because it's in my way. And I need to get rid of this. So I would get rid of it. And the more I did that, the easier it got. I won't lie, like the first times that I would go and drop off my donation, I would literally cry as I was leaving Goodwill because I felt like
okay.
it was, I'm telling you, April, I had a problem. Like I had a problem with stuff, like with emotionally connecting myself with the things that I have to where I felt like they were
Right.
crying out to me, like, don't leave me.
I think we all do have that emotion.
And I think that,
attachment.
we think that
Wow.
things, we put emotions with things. So I did that a few times and I realized that I was okay after that, that I survived and that I was emotionally okay and that I got over it pretty quickly. It became a lot easier. But I realized at that point that I have a problem.
Okay.
Like this is more than me just getting rid of my stuff.
Right.
This is me like healing some kind of inner
Wow.
whatever that I was dealing with and having to get rid of stuff because of other issues that I obviously had that I didn't realize I had until I was getting rid of it.
Right.
But then once I got rid of those things, I started getting rid of more things that were probably more sentimental. And that got even tougher at that point. But I also knew because I had survived the rest that I could survive this as well. And I knew that there were things that I needed to get rid of that were not serving me any purpose,
Right.
that were not bringing me joy, that were not helping me live the life that I want to live. There's actually, Peter Walsh had a quote that I really love, and I actually have this up in my closet. He says, "You are not your stuff. And if your stuff is not helping you create the life, mood, and harmony that you want, then what is it doing in your life?"
Ooh, I like that.
So I was starting to realize that some of the things that I have, even though they were sentimental, were not allowing me to create the life, mood, and harmony that I wanted in my life. So I started getting rid of those things. And some of the things I offered back because they were sentimental. Maybe they were even heirloom type items.
Wow, that's hard.
I offered them back or offered them to someone else in the family. No,
Okay.
it wasn't, because they knew what I was doing. I had told them, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm trying to create for myself. This is in my way. This is not helping me. And I need space. So I think that they also knew, because I had gotten rid of so much stuff, that the other alternative would be donating it. So they were probably like, yes, I'll take it back.
Yes, I'll take it back.
So I went back and I asked my mom, hey, I have this and I really appreciate it.
Right.
I thank you for allowing me to be able to have this for the amount of time, but it's really not creating the space that I want to have harmony in my home. And would you like this back? And so she would take it back, or I've passed some things on to my sister. So, that's always an option.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family.
For sure. Yeah. And then recently, actually this last week, like we've gotten rid of so much that I actually ended up selling my china and my china cabinet. because we have
How
been
long
married
did you
for
have them?
20
Oh my
years.
goodness.
And we've used our china, one time in 20 years that we've been married. And not only that, but it wasn't really china that Brandon was excited
Right.
about using. Because when we got married,
Right.
he was on the road a lot
Okay,
when we were
right,
planning our wedding.
right.
And I had like 6 months to plan our wedding. And it was during the time where they had a lot of festivals that time. It was like fall, and then all of a sudden, like they were gone for like a month and a half here and there, and so he wasn't here a lot to help me plan the
okay.
wedding.
And pick
So
it up.
when I went to register for this china, he was not in town, but I had to get registered for it because we were about to have a wedding shower. So I went and found this china, and I was like, "Oh, I love this china."
I didn't even register for China. Oh, maybe I did. I don't
And
think I did.
yeah, he didn't so much love the china. Yeah. So, but that's okay. So now the china is gone. And if we ever need china, we will go together and we will get what
Together.
we love together that will
Right.
be timeless for us. And that's totally fine. So I got rid of the china. And then when I did that, then there's no need for a china cabinet. Mm-hmm. So I got rid of the china cabinet. And
know.
it has created like mega space
I know.
in our home just by getting rid of that one piece of furniture that I couldn't walk around, that I would,
Right.
trip over every time we'd try to walk around it, and was not serving any purpose.
This is like a new concept.
And they have the Facebook yard sale
Yes.
sites. And the thing about the Facebook yard sale sites, y'all, okay, so listen to this. So when you place things on Craigslist,
Okay.
people typically, there's a way to go in and see what's just listed, but people typically don't go there. They typically are looking for a specific item. Say
okay.
they're looking for a china cabinet.
Okay.
Okay. So they would type in china cabinet, and they would go to Craigslist. They would type in china cabinet, and they would find all the china cabinets. We just sold the car. They would go to Craigslist. They would type in the car, or just go and browse the cars that they're looking for or whatever. But what I found on Facebook, the yard sale sites, is that you place stuff on there, and there are window shoppers. There are people on Facebook all day
There
long, and they see these things pop up, and it's stuff that they never even knew they needed.
Oh, right.
And they look at it and they go, "Oh my goodness,
good
I
advertising.
need that." So it is a new category of window shopping. Yes, it is window shopping for today. So people
I
will
love
look
it. I
on
mean,
there. They don't have to travel. They don't have to go anywhere, and they're buying the stuff. I mean, of course, they have to go and meet and pick it up and stuff, and you can arrange that ever how you want to.
Right.
But yeah, so there are people, and literally I have sold things on Facebook where they have literally told me, I wasn't even thinking about buying this, but once I saw it, I realized, oh my goodness, I could totally
Right.
use this. And then they buy it.
Right. Wow.
I know, right? So
Right.
it creates like a whole new outlet for selling stuff, is all these Facebook yard sale sites.
I know. I think I'm going to try adding. I have a few things. I'm just going to get over the fear of it and post it. But I
It's
like
so
how you
easy.
talk about you have this story of how you, when you want to sell something, how to put a spin on it.
Right, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so yes,
I
a
think
few
it's pretty
years ago, we had a kitchen table and 4 chairs that we were trying to sell. And the chairs, they were the only thing that was wrong with the chairs were aesthetically they needed to be recovered. Okay, but they were complete, like you could sit in
The
them, you
function
could
of it,
use them
yeah.
just like they were, but they just probably just to make them look better, you needed to recover the seats, right? So I had put the table and the 4 chairs on Facebook for $150. Okay, and I listed it as a table, kitchen table, and 4 chairs. All right. So I had people coming and they were looking at the chairs and the table. They liked the table, but they kept saying, "Well, I'm gonna have to spend more money on recovering these chairs."
Right.
And and I understood that because they didn't
Right.
look good. They were functional, but they didn't look good. So I said, okay. So I had people coming and looking and just turning away and not wanting them because they knew they were going to have to invest more in these chairs, right? So my husband and I were talking about this, and jokingly, he said to me, "You should mark it down and then put free chairs, table and free chairs." And I said, That's genius. I will totally
Yeah.
do that. So I did. So at first I was selling it for $150 for the table and the 4 chairs. And people were coming, not wanting them, right?
Right.
So a few days later, I took that down,
Rebranded.
relisted it for $145, so $5 less, table,
Suddenly, yeah.
and 4 free chairs. I had 21 people waiting in line for that table and 4 free chairs. It sold within the hour.
Wow. It's the same table.
Same table, same chairs, $5 less. The only thing was that we said table and 4 free chairs instead of table and chairs. Yes.
So the takeaway on that is it's how you present it.
Marketing. Oh, it's
yes.
totally marketing. And yes, that's one reason why we have so much stuff in America now is because marketing. We have marketing
That's why I have so many
geniuses.
Legos. Yep.
Yes. We're marketing geniuses. And they tell us that we need this. We have to have it. It's the only one. And this is the best price. And yes, it's going to make our life better. And we're going to be happier with it. And
You need this for... Yes, I get you. No, it's genius.
it is absolutely genius. Yes. So I know that there's a lot more that we could talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
But I wonder if we may need to save it for another podcast.
I think so. I think blog post... I mean, just because there's so many things to be minimalistic about in the sense of the word. But one thing that minimalism is not, what I was thinking, minimal effort required at your place of employment.
Ooh.
You probably don't want to be minimalistic there.
Oh, yeah,
as in
that's good.
Just show up, punch a time card or whatever.
That's good.
You know, I don't know. It just made me think about what minimalism is not. So,
I have one more thing that minimalism is not.
okay.
So minimalism is not buying like the cheapest.
Oh, good.
Item.
Good.
Okay, so there's a saying that says poor man pays twice.
Right.
So minimalism can actually mean getting the best quality
Okay,
the first
right,
time
right.
and not having to buy it again. Because the saying poor man pays twice means that you buy the cheapest. Okay, so we're big in campers. Okay,
Right,
we
right.
love to camp, we love to hike. So poor man pays twice in that instance would be we go buy the cheapest backpack that we can find, or we
Right.
go and buy the cheapest tent. You know, maybe we go to Walmart and buy a tent versus going to REI and buying a tent. Okay, so
Quality.
there's a so there's a difference with the quality that you buy because you can pay less for the cheaper,
Right.
but chances are it's not going to last as
Break,
long.
You're buying it.
It's not going to give you the service that you need versus going and buying what you want to begin with, okay? And then having that from here on out and
Right.
being happy with your purchase and it lasting for a long time because you bought quality.
Right.
But also, because you're not buying so much other stuff, you're not dollaring yourself to death by $1 here, $1 there at the dollar store.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
I do love
because
the
you're not doing that and you're not buying all these things and bringing them into your home,
Right.
then you're able to spend more on that quality item that you
I like it.
find. And so the things that you have are good quality and you don't have to buy them again typically
I like it.
instead of them breaking. Yes.
Right. That you get what you pay for. Yeah. Go
Exactly.
ahead and save and spend. Okay. Money on what really matters. Yes. Okay. That's a whole nother. All right. Well, that's a lot more food for thought for later. I have another note. I have another spot for notes on.
I see that we have
see
a
that-
ton of
yeah.
other notes that we didn't
Yeah.
even get to. So I think that we can definitely do another podcast on this
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Yeah.
And kind of follow up, add
See
some
where
things
people
to
are.
it. And I'd love to hear from some of our listeners who may be doing this and some of the things that they're doing that they found that works for them. I'd also maybe even like to hear from some of our listeners who are not interested in minimalism.
Tell us
I'm
what you
just-
are interested in.
Well, I'm just curious at why.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, that right. You want to get feedback? Yes, we would love to hear your opinions. For those of you who are already doing this or want to do this, and those of you who are like, nope, not gonna do it. We also want to hear those people's.
Right.
I like
I would love to hear that. So If you guys are listening on iTunes, don't forget to leave us a review. That review actually helps us to reach more people with our podcast. The more reviews that we get, the more iTunes will recommend us to other podcast listeners. So we would love it if you guys could just pause, give us a review. That would be great.
Could be long or could be minimalist. Just
Yes, it
review
can be a minimalist review. That's totally fine.
That's it for today. Tune in next time as we continue to dive into life.
In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You can find us at teaoflifepodcast.com or follow us on Twitter at teaoflifecast. Until next time, in the words of Monty Python,
Make tea, not war. So, let me just recap for the umpteenth time. Step number 1. Take a dump. Number 2. Number 2. Sorry, I just got that. Okay, brain dump. Just put your ideas out there. Just get them out of your
My
mind.
laugh just busted some eardrums. I'm sorry, people. I know that I can
Yes,
get a little loud with my laugh sometimes.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so step number 1 is just write things down in your planner or on your phone, whatever you choose to write. Get it out of your head. Put it somewhere so you can see it again to do the next task. Number 2 is just start it. Start your plan. Now, you may be thinking these are no-brainer things. So, which reminds me of what I originally wanted to title this podcast. Do you remember?
Mm-mm.
I sent it to you yesterday.
Oh,
Hold on.
sorry. I don't open my email.
Okay, sure. No, that's
I'm
good.
minimalist when it comes to checking my
I don't
email.
check emails from you. So I was thinking of catchy titles for our episode, and I was thinking how zombies and vampires were kind of big in TV shows.
Oh,
So they're
yes.
probably
You
not
did
anymore.
tell me that.
You know, hey, I watch things on Netflix, so that's probably whatever. So I thought, A Zombie's Guide to Minimalist Living. 5 easy steps, or how to live minimally like a zombie, or no-brainer minimalist. So simple, a zombie could do it. Oh, they obviously
So-
are not a consultant. The pin we used to wear upside down. Oh my gosh. You know your pin is on upside down? Well, yes, I do. It's to remind me
Let me tell you why. It's to remind me to ask you to borrow your face. She says that.
Sorry.
He's in a hurry.
Yes. Who was that?
I don't know. So in Marie Kondo's book, she talks about basically attacking different rooms. Actually, no, she really doesn't.
She doesn't.
She does not at all.
I talked about that a second ago. No,
Yes, you did. Yes.
I
So-
can write a book. I'll write it in my planner.
Why do I have this? Oh, this is confusing me because I have the wrong.
You need to minimalize these tabs you have open in your window.
I do. You are so right.